All right, we're going live over there. We'll get ready to go live here. Hey, good morning, Misfits. It is Friday. It is one day before the end of the close. This is leap year. And this year we get to have one extra day. Hey, good morning, right? Misfits. And let me get this closed. Friday. Boom. Now that's turned off. Good morning and welcome to the YouTube watchers and all of us folks here. Get back over here, put that there. So, the word that came to me this morning was faith in meditation. But before we get started, let's go ahead and send out our three messages. Send out our three messages of joy, of gratitude, of love, of peace. Let me know when you're done with those. If there's anybody new on the call, let me look here. I think I recognize most of the faces. Good to see you all here. And must be a power out in East Texas. We have the angel appearance of RBP. So good morning, everybody. So today, conversation. Yesterday, I was sent a video, and it's about the glory is in the dialogue. And the reason I think faith came to me this morning is that when we're having a conversation with somebody, boy, don't we have to have the faith that we can help them? Don't we have the faith that they want to be helped? I forget who it was that touched the hem of Jesus's robe. They said, if I could just do that, I'll be healed. And they stopped everything, and he said, your faith is so strong. Where's your faith at on a scale of 1 to 10? It's easy to say it's a 10 until the first challenge that comes up, right? So as we go through today, as you go through your day today, look at where your faith gets, I don't want to say tested, where it gets to be put to good use. Where it gets to be put to good use. Right now we have, let's see here. Isn't it crazy? 14 amazing souls on the call. So if I were to use faith in the way some people use faith, I would say, well, I must not be doing well. I must not be doing good. I don't know where everybody at. No, that's ego. To have 100+ people on the call, to now have 15 people on the call, what's going on with your call? When people look at the numbers, so what keeps you, most people would do what? Most people would do what right now? If they've had, man, I 70 people on the call every day, 60 people on the call every day. It ain't about the numbers. It's about having a moment with somebody like Clarence and somebody like Brianna's grandmother, Clarence's bride. It's one sentence that can make a difference for somebody. It's one interaction, one conversation. It's Brittany yesterday coming to ask questions for somebody else, realizing the power that she was bestowed upon, realizing the mercy and grace that was poured through her. You can't miss, you can, but those moments are unmissable. I don't know if that's a word. They're just not. And you know why most people won't come back here? You know why most people don't swing back through this particular call? Because it's working on you. It's not content. It's not conversation outside. It's not hype. It's working on you. It's making changes in your day. Oh, I can't get up that early. I love the call, but I can't get up that early. Okay. You still have to keep going. You still have to keep going. It's one call at a time. Sure, the ego can get in the way. You've got 20 people on your team. You've got 30 people on your team. You've got 30,000 people on your team. Is that time to stop? You talk to 4 people. 6 people are excited. You talk to 10 people, 12 people. 3 people are excited. What do? You have faith. Right now, you're being challenged. Right now, you're being tested. In some area of your life, there's a test going on. If there's a test going on in your life, drop a T in the chat. Sure. And in the conversation we had with Brittany yesterday, the attraction is a distraction. The attraction is a distraction. The attraction to the drama, the attraction to the joy, right? Maslow said, be independent of the good opinion of other people. Be independent of the good opinion of other people. We're told all the time, well, don't worry about what they say about you. That's just negative Nancy and negative naysayer, and just don't worry about what they say. I'd also encourage you to not worry about what they say when you think it's good stuff. In this moment, you have a choice, misery or joy. Which do you choose? Mason had lacrosse games last night. Varsity and JV played. Varsity won, JV won. But in a field of competition, in the field of battle, one team and the other team. So how is it possible then, right? Wallace D. Wattles, 7 universal laws. One of them is the law of polarity, the law of opposites. The exact same field, the exact same ball, the exact same rules, the exact same time frame. One team wins, one team loses. Do you think that mentality is wired into us from a very early age? I win, you lose, you win, I lose. Then the good coach will say, well, right? Paulo Coelho, in the book Manuscript Found in a Craw, says, what does he say? How's it go? Hold on. Failure ends the second you enter into a new battle. Failure ends the moment you enter back into battle. Failure is a choice, is a permanent decision, but it ends the second you end back into battle. Yep, that didn't work. Einstein, 9,990. I don't know how many times he tried the light bulb. And I doubt as ticked off as he was or as elated as he was when it finally worked, I don't know if anybody would have the calm to say, well, I learned 9,999 times how not to make a light bulb. I really don't think he said that. If you really understand Edison and who he was and how driven he was, I don't know that calm demeanor ever really came out. I wasn't there. Could be wrong. God knows I've been wrong many times before. But the failure ends the second you enter back into a new battle. What battle are you choosing to enter into right now? What test are you taking? It's one thing to be tested and not be prepared. It's another thing to be tested and say, I'm going to do my best. It's another thing to be tested and ask for help. Could you imagine what school would be like if kids could ask for help Now, the challenge is do they want the answer, or do we need to teach them how to acquire the answer? I think that's where the biggest challenge is we have to have faith in people that they can actually take care of themselves. How many of you as parents, knowing full well how to help a child walk or open a drawer or tie their shoe, you let them go through and experience failure after failure after failure? Well, no, that's just experience. They need to do that. That's how they learn. Well, then why do we stop that? They learn by their own capability, their own capacity, their own desire. Then we put them in a school where everybody's got to have the same desire, and we grade them against each other. And then they graduate school and they're back on their own. So they're on their own in the beginning. They're geniuses with what they come up with. They're absolutely, from knowing nothing, I mean, not even understanding language, to being able to speak a language, and can speak 3 or 4 languages if in that environment. Just pure geniuses. Understand math from 10 months old. Understand shapes from almost minutes old. Geniuses, absolute geniuses. And then we put them for 12 years for some of us, longer for others. We put them in a place of 12 years, and we got to make sure they hit the standard. I got to tell you, I don't know how I got so lucky. I never met a standard. I never did. I wasn't invited back to the standard after my first semester in high school. 0.9 grade point average. But somebody somewhere saw something different and unique enough that said, we're not going to judge him on the standard. We'll allow him to pass through the standard, because what he has is something totally different. Each one of you have that same thing. Each one of you, that's what you're searching for right now. You're searching for your voice. You have faith that there's more of what you want there. You have faith there's more that you can do. You have faith that there's more you can achieve, more you can accomplish, more you can give. Here's my question. Are you having the dialogue to let that free? The glory is in the dialogue. And when we say things, and when we repeat things over and over, and we repeat things over and over, and when we repeat things over and over, it's not because we forgot. It's because we're looking for the vibration. What is the vibration of your conversation? How many of you have had a very strong, a very stern, a very harsh, a very tough conversation with somebody, yet it was done with such love? It wasn't a difficult conversation. It was tough, but it wasn't difficult, because there was such a level of caring, such a level of love, such a level of conversation. How many of you have had conversations and very few words were ever spoken? How many of you have had conversations where very few words were ever spoken, and it caused just a tremendous riff, because it was all vibration? There was no conversation. A look, a stern word, a turn away, highly negative. See, if any of you ever complain about somebody who's not in the room, I'd call you crazy. If you complain about somebody that is not in the room, you're insane. Oh, you wouldn't believe that. Excuse me, when did that happen? Yesterday. You wouldn't believe it. He said this and I did this and he didn't. When did that happen? Yesterday. How many moments did you just give up today? Yeah, but you don't understand. I don't know. They didn't apologize. Forgiveness. Who has to forgive? Even if they did say they were sorry, you would still have to do what? Accept it. When are you going to accept forgiveness? When will you forgive yourself for that part in the play? When will you hope they accept your forgiveness? This whole thing of faith and dialogue and conversation and and sitting quietly and arguing with people. I mean, it's why our brain had to get so big. I don't know that there's two earthworms. Let me listen outside my window for a second. Hold on. No, every morning I listen for earthworms arguing with each other and I never hear it. What are you digging in my tunnel for? That's my dirt. You pooped in my path. I don't hear that out there. Let me listen for the leaves outside the tree here, see if they're going to argue for the sun. Nope, don't hear them either. My dog, Beamish, is sitting outside the door here. He scratched on the door once because he wanted to come in. But he's not sitting out there going, I can't believe the SOB in there tells me he loves me every day and he won't let me in. No, he laid down on the floor. We think we're so sophisticated. We think we're so smart. We think we have all of these things together. And we carry grudges with us that would crush Hercules. Where is your faith that things will be good? What dialogue are you having that's making you see the world as not this joyous, most amazing, incredible place on the planet, in time for you? Well, I want to help the world. Do you want to remove the splinter out of their eye? Why don't you find the plank in your own? This is your moment. What would happen if you put down some of the stories you keep telling yourself about other people? What if you sat in front of a mirror today and you looked for all of your perfections? You look for all of the challenges and you just worked on you. What if today you would get paid $1 million, $1 million cash, if you smiled all day long? Just smiled all day long. And you had to keep your mind in a state of smiling. You couldn't fake smile. Son of a blah, 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 blah. You had to really stay in energy. It's the end of the month. If you're in the profession of MLM, me loving more, mentors leading mentors, making lasting memories. If you're in that profession, there's starting to be some pressure. If you're near a rank, if you're near a target, if you're on somebody's team who's pushing for rank, you're going to get the calls. You're going to get the hey, listen, who can we talk to? What can we do this? Oh, I got to get to work. I got to get to work. Why didn't they do that on the 15th? Why is poor planning on their part making an emergency on my part? Isn't it that we're kind of wired that we wait to the last minute? Why does everybody pray when the boat starts sinking? What's that phrase? There's no atheists at sea. Why does everybody start praying when they get a bad diagnosis? Why didn't everybody turn to prayer when all of a sudden they get a good diagnosis? You're as healthy as a horse. Oh man, I need to drop to my knees and pray. Where is your faith? What bucket do you have it in that you need to go take the lid off? When things go right, I bet on this call, the 27 folks who are here, I bet on this call, it happens probably 99% of the time. How many of you, when something good happens, do you say, thank you, God? And I'm talking about they had your sugar, your stevia at Starbucks. They had your flavor they had half and half cream when you went to go do something. I'm talking, the light turns green when you want it to. The elevator doesn't take extra long to come. You got to laugh going up an escalator with somebody. I mean, everything. everything. You got internet connection right now. It's cold outside right now. Thank you. Or we always asking when it's too late. When we think it's too late. And once again, he figures out how to just put everything in place. It's like, oh my gosh. Do you realize the fact that you woke up this morning? You came out of this unconsciousness and you are awake now? That's a miracle. They're still not sure how that happens in science, how you go into this unconsciousness and then you bring yourself out of it. Yeah, we got alarms and caffeine and all of that stuff. But when you're in joy, and most people don't need an alarm to wake up on the day of vacation. They're up, they're ready. Sometimes they don't even go to sleep. I'll sleep on the plane. I'll sleep on the next travel. I'll sleep on the next segment. I've been up for 36 hours. And sorry, they don't have 36-hour medals. Where is your faith in your own success? Where is your faith in your own journey? Who's taking your faith away from you? How could your faith ever be taken away from you? Well, that guy's just a jerk and she's not doing this and they're not doing that. And I don't know. What we think about and thank about, we bring about. So what's triggered inside of you? What's popped up inside of you as I've shared this morning? Because I keep going back to this statement since I heard it. What sustains us? Habits. Habits sustain us. Habits of joy, habits of aggravation. Listen, I bet today's going to be a lot like yesterday. And I bet yesterday was a lot like the day before. And I bet this Saturday, you'll probably do the same things. You're probably already preparing to do some things that you've done before on Saturday. You're probably already preparing to do some things on Sunday. It's the weekend, W-E-A-K-E-N-D. And that's not how you spell weekend, Sean. No, that's really how most people spell weekend. It becomes a very weak end to a week. Why do you have to have the weekend off? What are you working for? The end game is the grave. Do you know when your finish line is going to show up? Do you know when you're going to be done? Why do you have to start over every Monday? Why do you have to start over from zero every Monday? What's happening in your world that even looks okay? Oh, Friday, made it through another week. I'll get a paycheck. How much of that paycheck carries over? Zero. How much of your experience carries over? All of it. And so you start again at zero? I'm bringing more experience, more value, more this, and it starts at zero? When do you have time to take care of you? After hours in the weekend, what do we do? TV, movies, drink. Not all of it. Not the people that are on here, I'm sure. So when you start to have a conversation with somebody who deals with a W-E-A-K-E-N-D, a weekend, and you believe there is no end and there's nothing weak about you, isn't it possible that maybe we could there's a chance we can be so smart that we talk them back into their hole when they just raised their hand and they wanted to step out? When you go to prospect, when you go to have a conversation with somebody and your essence comes off, your perfume, your cologne of success comes off, your perfume or your cologne, your musk of desire comes off, and they feel like they're the prey when all they were trying to do is just pray. They were on their knees praying and you turned them into prey. Go figure that download. So, what door are you knocking on to get in? And when you open, you realize you were already inside. What door are you knocking on right now? Success, faith, courage, and nobody's opening it. And then all of a sudden, you open the door and you realize you were already inside. It was just a door inside this vastness. So good morning, everybody who's recently joined us. If you'd like to have a conversation and you'd like to ask a question or make a comment, go ahead and raise your hand. I'd love to hear some thoughts, some feedback. What was triggered in you? What were you thinking? What story inside of you got challenged? What showed up? Where were you pushed? Where were you pulled? Where did you say, well, that's just a bunch of crap? Good morning, LaToya.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. I have a question. I was popped up with a challenge, and I believe I overcame it because it's just applying so much, gratitude and everything every day. But this one with a good friend of mine. We used to talk quite a bit, all the time, and then when her father passed last year, we still kept in contact and everything, right? So now, like lately, I have not heard from her at all. I have like called her, it going straight to voicemail now. And then she don't reach back at all. But I've noticed because we also connect through social media, and she has not reached out like at all, and she used to, but now I've noticed that maybe she just grew past, maybe it was just a season and she just grew past and started gravitating to other people, and I'm okay with that. I'm also okay with loving from a distance, and I had come to that acceptance. So my question is this: um um what could have been the change, or how could like handle it, because I'm not like bitter and anything about it. I'm actually just I'm grateful it happened, because it even showed me, I believe it was a test to me that um to see how strong I am, or how mature I became since my self-awareness has raised up. I guess you see where I'm going with this. It's like I don't want to sound repetitive.
So a couple of things,
Okay.
LaToya. I would ask you to sit today or sometime in the next day or so, to
Okay.
sit in the gratitude of your own growth.
Gotcha. Okay.
And here's why I say that.
Okay.
Because the words you used to describe the situation
Mm-hmm.
didn't give any credit to you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You described it in such a ways as, well, maybe she outgrew, maybe it's a season, maybe she was just here for a while.
Gotcha.
Maybe it's you outgrew.
Oh.
And now she's not familiar with how to communicate with you. Maybe she's not familiar with how to engage with you, right? The limb that she used to jump on, the limb that she used to swing from, called your friendship or relationship, has now grown out of reach.
Okay. Okay.
So, and it's no fault. But the way you described it, again, this is the words that you used, the way that I heard it is that something changed where you're no longer good enough.
Gotcha.
But it's not that. You have been sharpening your saw. You have been working on you. You have been more in praise, more in faith, more in joy, and you've had more roller coasters. And now all of a sudden, this person who was on your train, who was part of your crew, is no longer there because they can't hang on to the branch anymore.
Oh, gotcha.
The train is left. Now you can still see them. And there's a part of you that says, well, there's still a connection there. Then all it is just, do the trees ever get watered in the winter? Yes. And this
Yeah.
is just, so I would keep watering,
Okay.
and not with the intent to reap the harvest, just water. You have extra water, their trees. If you have it, you'll share it with that tree, and you'll share it with her, and you'll send her love. You'll send her joy. Say, listen, I am so happy that we have a relationship because you helped me grow this morning on a call.
Gotcha. Okay.
And all you can do is, all you are is the ocean water.
Mhm.
Who swims it? When you look at National Geographic, or you look at Blue Planet, or you look at any of these places, any of these videos, this is an interesting download that's coming to me, and you see the whale swimming through the water. Can you imagine how happy the water is that's right around the whale? Because the whale chose to swim through that water. Now, all of the water between the diver or the camera guy and the whale, do you think it sits there and cries going, why didn't the whale swim through me?
Gotcha.
But all of that water says, we were here. We made that place possible for this friend of yours. You're making that place possible.
Okay.
There's people in my organization that show up. They show up. They're at my side. They're every place. And man, I'm going to do everything you say. I'm going to do exactly what you say. And I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to get there, and I'm going to do it. And I'm going to do it. And I give them one task, and you think the world's about to end. Wow. No, but I'm going to do it. This time I'm going to do it. Okay. I say, well, maybe my Spanish isn't that good. Did you understand the task I gave you last time? Yes. Well, let's do that one. Okay, I'm going to do it. The space between me and them allows our relationship to happen. Sometimes that space is very close. Sometimes that space is very far, but the space still allows the relationship to happen. I can't be sad when it changes, because I'm still in my place. I'm still in my space. I get on a plane. I go to Vegas. I get in a car and drive for 21 hours to Vegas, and I do a call from Vegas. Is the call any less? Well, if I show up on time, but is the call any less? Is the call any more? I go to Florida. I do a call. I go to Biloxi, Mississippi. I do a call in the morning. Is the call any more difficult? I do a call from McDonald's, a parking lot of McDonald's. Is the call any different? The relationship, if the relationship is there, it'll always be there. Some people show up. Right now, we have 31 people, amazing souls on the call. It's been 105. Where's the space? Well, there's space for another 70 people to get on the call. It doesn't change how I see me. So I would encourage you, LaToya, is to spend some time in your joy, to realize the gifts you get to give, to realize that that season has happened. How many of us have been through 2 winters? I think most of us are older than 2. So,
Yeah.
so it's, what year is it? It's 2020. So should we be sad that winter 2016 is not here? No, that'd be silly.
Right.
Now, what can we do? We can be preparing for winter 2021, which is a year away. But I promise you, if we spent time right now preparing for today, man, it'll be an amazing day. And if today's an amazing day, guess what we do? We get to amp it up. We get to have more, do more, be more. We get to do less. When you spend time in your own joy, LaToya, when you spend time in your own gratitude, when you spend time in your own grace, and when you spend time and give yourself mercy and possibly forgive yourself. I know this may sound weird, but forgive yourself for growing.
Okay. That's new.
right?
Yes.
For loving your kids. Your kids are getting older, aren't they?
Yes.
Yeah, we're not yet. We'd love for them to all be still 5 years old and all cute and cuddly and everything. Or 10 years old or 12 years old or whatever it is. It would be awesome. But the time moves in one direction. Our love moves in all directions. Our desire moves in all directions. When we start to narrow it and focus it, but we start to give ourselves a little, now don't spend too much time patting yourself on the back.
Right. Exactly.
But all too often, and again, this is a very powerful, this is a very common, this is a very normal phenomenon that happens inside the female brain is, am I good enough? What did I do to make them mad? Maybe they're just mad. Take care of you, right? And the world will figure out how to show up in its own time and space. Because in this moment, you have a choice, misery or joy. Yeah, but I really, I mean, we could, and all of this thing we had, misery or joy. Yeah, but they said and this, that, and the other. People tell fibs, misery or joy. It's really, such a freeing concept when you begin to implement it. We lost misery or joy. What did you lose? Did you lose all of the experience, the briefcase of experience from the game, what you could do better? Now, if you repeat it, then yeah, you're kind of silly for repeating the same issues and challenges and problems. It's why we have groups. It's why we have communities of conversation. What'd you learn? What'd you like from that?
But I learned to take some time out and, in my joy and, gratitude, all the great things. And, and that saying, asking myself, am I good enough? It's like, I just thank you for that aha moment. I think, we always don't think about ourselves. Did we outgrow? We always look at the person, did they outgrow us? And I usually kind of like feel guilty. Like, what did I do wrong? Like what I do? I was there and this. But, my mother used to always tell me this, don't always expect the hand to wash the other. When you washing the hands, don't always expect the other hand to wash right back at you. And that really just popped up while you were sharing.
Mother's wisdom, can't beat it.
Right? She said, just know at the end your hands are washed because you did your part. So feel great that your hands are washed.
There you go.
That's all I had to share. But thank you so much for
You bet,
highlighting it.
LaToya.
Thank you.
Thank you for having the courage to ask.
Yes, thank you so much. You're
bet.
welcome.
There you go. There you go. So this is a common phenomena. I want to say it happens more with women. I don't believe it does. I believe they're more expressive about it. They can put it into words. Guys, we put it in a box and we shove it away and we bury it 16 feet under a 400-story tall building and we move on. And it's why heart attacks happen. It's why depression happens. It's why so many things in our life become out of order. We think we can fix everything. Sometimes we have to let the ocean lap at the walls of the shore, and sometimes it crumbles. Sometimes the cliffs come down. But we get wore out. We get wore out. And the way you avoid burnout, burn up, exhaustion is you have to rest. Well, I sleep enough. Let me finish. Sometimes you have to rest the story. 70,000 thoughts a day, 14,000 words a minute. You can think, you can think in your head in between my conversations. Every one of you, there's 35 people on the call. There's 100 plus, there could be 200 people on this call right now. Every time I say something, every time somebody else shares something or somebody types something, we all come up with a story. We all start to next based upon what we're hearing. And when I say next, the reason that you can understand me is your brain has heard my pattern before, which is why you don't necessarily have to be totally focused on what I'm saying to hear what I'm saying, because you've heard my pattern. You've heard my pentameter. You've heard my gait before in my language. RBP, what do I hear?
Good morning. How are y'all?
Good.
So I function on about 4 hours of sleep. Ironically, I wake up feeling better today than I have the whole week. So I got my cup full yesterday, and last night I was with over 1,000 women in one place, all of the same mindset, moving forward in our faith together, and it was pretty freaking remarkable. And it's interesting that LaToya asked the question she did, because our conversation last night was, it was pretty freaking amazing. I have notes. I don't have them right in front of me because I've got a slumber party asleep in my living room, and I've got my husband home from work asleep in my bedroom. So I had to find some nook and cranny in another room where I had signal. But y'all are making me have the thoughts come back to me. And at the end of this event, the lady that was speaking had two full-length mirrors on stage, one on her right and one on her left. And the one on the right had all these Post-it notes on it. And it questioned everything about who you are. And it said, are you worthy? Are you capable? Do you look right? What's wrong with your clothes? Why does your nose look funny? Why are you shaped the way you're shaped? And it had all these questions. And every time she read one, I just kind of was like, oh, and I just kept leaning back and leaning back. And then the other mirror on the other side had all these other Post-its. And the mirrors, interestingly, looked really similar. And the mirror on the other side said, you are worthy. You were made perfect. I shaped you exactly how I wanted you. I designed you with intent. Everything about you was planned. You are capable. You are strong. You're confident. It had all these things about who you honestly were. And she turned back and she looked at us and she goes, which mirror are you looking in? And it's a choice as to which mirror you look in. And it's like what LaToya just did. She was starting to kind of sideways look at that mirror that questioned her. And Sean, you beautifully directed her back to the mirror that God wants her to look in, as to how perfect she is, how amazing she is, how she can walk in that mirror and go, I look a little different. And that's all right. That looks pretty good. I like what I see. I can be in love with the reflection that's in that mirror. And so the way LaToya just transitioned and turned and saw that mirror, it made me think how often we see those mirrors and they're so similar the way they look that sometimes we forget which mirror are we looking in. And that's why it's so important to have ourselves surrounded by people that will go, hey, why don't you look at that other mirror? What's that other mirror say? Where's the Post-it notes over there? And when you do, the joy you can sit in. And it went a step further, and it might be for another call. It might be elaborated on now. I don't know. God will have to handle that. But this mirror resides, these mirrors potentially can reside in your secret place, where you go to meditate, where you go to sit. Where is your secret place? And are both the mirrors in the same secret place? And do you have a safe place to look in the mirror God tells you you are, where he affirms everything about you? Or do you have to go to a different place and see the mirror the world says about you? And why do we put so much weight on what the world says about us? Why did Latoya put so much weight into what her actions of her friend? Why do we grasp after that? We're all made so perfectly, so beautifully, so wonderfully. Everything about us is crafted exactly how it needs to be crafted. And it's like Sean says, we keep looking for these doors to open, and actually we're already in the room. It's just a door in the room that we feel as if we need to open because we feel like we have to do something to receive more. When you don't have to do more to receive more. You can be more and receive more. You can become more and receive more. You know, this goes, and maybe it's because I'm working on 4 hours of sleep, but this goes to a whole nother level to me. And it's when I abide in God, he abides in me. And I can sit in that secret place and I can look in the mirror that he has for me, no matter where I'm at, no matter who's sitting across from me, no matter what my goals are, no matter where I'm going. I have learned how to sit in that secret place and look in the mirror that he has all those post-it notes on there about me. And I'm going to challenge you to look in that mirror. If you've never seen that mirror, I'm going to challenge you to ask God to show you that mirror. And what does it say about me? And how does that change everything around me? And when people come in and out of my life, like Latoya's friend, because I've had the same exact thoughts. I mean, gosh, I had that just this past weekend. Why do we question ourselves? First of all, why do we even have to question? And second of all, if we question, why are we questioning us when we're the ones actually becoming more? So I listened to the call this morning, and I've got some interesting notes, and some of it all goes back to walk into forgiveness, and for me to forgive myself. And if I can forgive myself and I can switch the mirror that I'm looking in, then I can forgive anybody and I can remain in love. And I don't have to worry about standards, and I don't have to worry about standards being met in friendship or standards being met in work. I don't have to accept, why do I even have to have a standard? So I don't know if any of that's making sense where my brain's going right now, or what I have heard or felt. But it's a good morning, y'all. And I want y'all to know that I get on this call and I see y'all, and I think I see y'all from the mirror God sees y'all, because I can almost look at y'all's mirrors and get envious and have to go, hang on a second, I got a good mirror too, because y'all are these amazing souls, and you lean in and you press in, and for lack of better words, that's where the magic is. That's where the excitement is. And I love that about each one of y'all. And I want you to ask yourself all day, what mirror am I looking in? Am I looking in the world's mirror? Am I looking in what God's mirror says about me? So yeah, there you go, Sean. I
Love
really wasn't expecting that.
it. Well, and again, it's funny how, but this is the kaleidoscope we all look through, right? Birds of a feather flock together, and vibrations, and all of this. Isn't it funny how Rhonda can go to an event with 1,000 women, and one woman brings up a conversation on a call the following day, and it all kind of links in time and space and energy and conversation. Is it because that when we're instantly giving we're giving a, what do you call somebody who sits for you, for a painting?
A subject?
A subject. When you're given a subject, isn't it funny how we can paint the story that we have, the experience we have, into the story, into the subject that's being presented? And it sinks in time and space. But the reason I say that is LaToya sitting where she's sitting, Rhonda having done what she did, and all of a sudden it's the same. Wow, this is like amazing. It falls in place in time and space. If that's possible, and it is, it just proved out this morning, and it proves out every morning, because somebody will get on this call and go, oh my gosh, that reminds me of, or this is happening to me now. Wouldn't it make sense then that if we have the faith to build a community, we will find more of the things that are alike than the things that aren't? And when you sit down across from a prospect, a potential business partner, a potential life friend, a potential joy, a potential soul to learn from, a potential person who will spend a season with you, what are the chances there's something similar with them and you've never met before? What's the chance that you could both look into the same mirror at the same time? And how many times have you had presentations to where you were looking in the same mirror at the same time, but you were looking at it from the point of view of your back to the mirror? See, when you're standing looking one mirror, your back is to the other mirror all the time. So what might you need to turn your back on today? How hard is it to turn around to look into another soul who can give you joy, who can bring you joy? Do you realize our goal, maybe the only goal we have when we sit down across from somebody who wants more in life, who wants to do more, be more, have more, and we're sharing with them that they can do less, that you're there to support them, that you're there to guide them, that you're there to look. They've never turned around from the other mirror. Maybe all we have to do, how many of us have ever guided somebody who was blindfolded, put our hand on their shoulders, and slowly turned them around, and then remove the blindfold? That's all any conversation ever does. Going to a movie, deciding on a place to eat, picking something off the menu. We're guided constantly in our days. When somebody has the courage of a LaToya this morning to ask this question and then to listen for the answer, she allowed us to put our hands on her shoulder lovingly and say, what does this one say? When Rhonda shares what she shares, it's the music in her voice, it's the love in her voice, it's the joy in her voice. When Shami gets on, it's the love in her voice, it's the vulnerability, it's the fragileness in her voice, it's the strength in her voice. When Ray gets on here, it's the vulnerability in his voice, the strength in his voice, the experience in his voice. When Donald shares, when every one of us shares, all we're looking to do, the visual I keep getting, is we're either asking to, is it okay if we help turn you to look at the new mirror? Or can somebody guide me to help me turn myself around? And some people are stubborn. Their feet are stuck. And we're twisting them halfway up. And they see the mirror, but what happens when you let them go? Whoop, they go right back. So it requires action. The action that was given to LaToya today to move her feet is to spend time and really go sit in front of that mirror. Bob talks about it all the time. Bob Parks, when you sit in front of a mirror and have a conversation and you look at that person and you ask them questions, you interview that person. Each of you are amazing souls that have been in the mirrors. Both of them. Not good enough, more than capable enough. In this moment, you have a choice, misery or joy. Which would you choose? Where will you sit today? And when the misery mirror keeps trying to put itself in front of the joy mirror, you haven't turned. Sometimes its force is so powerful, it slides over there. It sneaks its way over there. Somehow it moves. Somehow somebody moves it for us. Somebody says, you're not good enough. And they put the misery mirror right in front of the joy mirror. And you go, I haven't moved. I haven't moved. All of a sudden, I was just looking at joy. And how did misery show up? I didn't move. Somebody changed the vibration. Sometimes we don't have to move and we can travel thousands of steps. Where will you choose to be today? Misery or joy? Latoya, did you have a question again, or is that from before?
Oh, yes, I had just one more thing to add.
Sure.
Yes. So in the midst of that, like even before I brought this up on the call, the old philosophy, I just had this old philosophy that I don't have women friends because all they do is backstab and turn their backs against one another. And I used to have that philosophy for a long time, you all. So I used to always gravitate to men as more as a leadership. And, you know, I just like gravitate. I used to have that old philosophy. And then it went away, especially when I became a business owner. You know, I started trading and everything. I started meeting women, you know, very like mine. And so that philosophy pretty much went away. But then when this happened, I was almost reminded of why I had that old philosophy. But then it was like, no, at that same time, like, no, Toy, you would not bring that back. but ask to get more enlightened of what is happening right now in this present moment. So that would compel me to ask you, because that old philosophy had came back like, this is why you don't have women friends. Like, it came just that quick. It was like, no, but ask Sean this question. So you get enlightened. So you stay on that path.
So that comes back to you were looking in the joy mirror, and her season changed, and all of a sudden it put that mirror back in front of you, and you didn't change anything, but it brings back up the old vibration, the old memories. Absolutely happens all the time. This is why you have to be able to stop and ask, what's the value I get from that? And what's the source of that story? And you figured out the source of that story. You look on this call right now. And if you go to where it shows all of the people who are on here, there's a lot more women on here than men. That's usually not the drive hard, the ride them hard and put them up wet sales training conversations. They're usually not filled with these amazing souls. I have a lot more women friends, Latoya, than I do men friends, because I operate at a different vibration. I just do. I'm okay with that. And so if guy friends are where you're at, if you desire to have the female companionship and conversation, then you may have to soften it up a little bit. But just be you. Don't be afraid. Listen, the reason they're backstabbing is because that vibration goes out. See, I proved it right.
Wow. Right.
My mentor would say, you're right. I'm rich. Let's move on. I'm sure every woman you come across will stab you in the back because that's how you've set it up.
Right.
And here's the thing with revelation, with awareness comes, oh my gosh, maybe I created some of that. I only put up with the people who I could go to battle with. And I'll turn my back on them just long enough for them to stick a knife in it.
Wow. We create our own world, John.
Well, I believe that's, if God can create the world, the universe, and everything in 7 days, he gives us the chance to create our own world every moment.
Absolutely. Thank you so much once again. This is like the highlight.
This is LaToya highlight reel.
Yeah. Thank you once again.
So, but and here's the thing, in LaToya, and I want everybody else to experience the lesson you're helping us learn, is that once we start down a path, all of a sudden we can start to see other things on the path. We need to look for the road signs. The path is the path. We need to see what's on the path. And that's what just happened. So you started off the conversation earlier with a friend in a season. And now all of a sudden you're realizing, I wonder if this was the nice way of me getting the knife in the back of her moving on. And this path, and we start to become the observer of our own mindset. And that brings us some amazing conversations. And even while you were driving, here's the perfect example of how there's hundreds of people on this call and there's 30 souls, but there's lots of conversations going on. From the time that LaToya stopped our dialogue and she just raised her hand again, do you see how much conversation was going on? And I never stopped talking. Rhonda never stopped talking. All of this stuff was still going on. And LaToya still came up with this new revelation, because this is how the brain works. So, and this is her wanting to get better. This is her striving to get more, to raise her hand again. What do you think the chances are the conversation might not be going so well inside of a prospect's head? And we just keep throwing out content. We throwing out content. Here's the comp plan. Here's the this plan. Here's how you get a free car. Here's how you get a vacation. Here's how you get a free bikini wax. Here's how you get your nails done. Here's how you get this done. Here's how you get this. It's like, whoa, wait a minute. What? And what conversations are going on in their head that you have no privy to? And when you get done, they go, I think this is where I'm supposed to say, yeah, this sounds good. Send me the website. They don't know what the hell you just said. And they can barely remember the torrent of storm that went on in their head, because it's the first time there was a safe place that they could pour into. But we didn't shut up long enough for them to say anything. When my presentations start, when my conversations start, if I'm going to meet somebody one-on-one, my conversations go, so are you ready to get started? On what? Well, let's back up then. Are you here to quit? I don't know what I'm doing here. Then why don't we start there? What memory brought you to this meeting? Well, you wanted to show me something about that thing you wanted to talk about. It seems like there may be some more things we need to talk about, because something brought you here, but you're not even 100% sure why we're here. Is it okay if we determine why you took time out of your day to share it with me? Well, yeah. So you were getting in your car and you're getting dressed this morning and you're getting your car keys and you're leaving the house. What was the story that was going through your head to show up at this event? Well, I was coming to meet you. We had an appointment. What's the appointment about? I know I'm gonna go out on a limb that of the 30 people on the call, that's probably not the opening dialogue that's happened for any of you. It's probably not the opening dialogue that you've ever been taught. But if you're not having an opening dialogue of that nature, your business constantly walks away from you. Just a thought. So there you go. Any last thoughts or comments before I let you to your Friday? Tomorrow, remember, it's 8:30 Central Time. Any last thoughts or comments before we wrap up?
Morning.
Good morning. Is that Bob Kane?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey, I just want to, and I just joined like 2 minutes ago, so I missed the whole call. But I just wanted to share some good news that yesterday, and we were very concerned, had a grandson I was in the hospital with who had seizures. They ended up being fever-related seizures, which is not an unusual thing, but very scary when he's 1 year old. And my prayer as I drove to the hospital at about 5 in the morning was thanking God for swift healing and complete healing. And he's back at our house now and playing and creating a ruckus. And thank God for that.
Many blessings on him. 1,000 years of good health. That's awesome.
Yep, good news. Always
news.
good to share good news.
It's very good to share good news. Appreciate
Thankful for all the prayers that came his way.
Love you, brother.
I love you too. Take care. Have an awesome day.
Thanks, man. Well, there you go. What a great way to end a great call. I appreciate y'all. Y'all are absolutely amazing. You make the world a better place every single day. I'd encourage you to start, right? We all say the phrase, charity starts where? Maybe so does love. Start there with you. Fill your cup up. You'd be surprised how empty it was. And when you do that, then you'll have all that you can do. And you really won't have to do a whole lot. I love you tons. I'm Sean Murphy, founder of Mental Profits. I'll see y'all where? At the next event. Y'all tell each other you love each other.
Love you all. Thank you.
Bye, y'all.
Have a fantastic day. I love you.
Yeah,
You guys have a great day.
Everyone,
Love you.
God bless each and every one of y'all.
You're a whole beast. Shammy.
Love y'all. Have a great day.
Blessings,
Yes.
everyone.
Take care. See y'all tomorrow.
See y'all tomorrow, 8:30. Love y'all.
All right. Love you too. Take care.